July 28, 1944, a US soldier in a camouflage uniform by the name of Joseph Defreitas was preparing his food right after a heavy battle that took place in the town of Pont Brocard in Normandy, France. As he was doing so, a US Army photographer took a photograph of him. It is one of our most favorite pictures because it's so personal. The whole scene with his rough beard just speaks 1,000 words. In this video we will travel with Normandy tour guide Florent Plana and military historian Joseph Meesen to the area where this photograph was taken, with the goal to stand in the exact spot as Joseph Defreitas in honor of the 41st Armored Infantry Regiment. Joseph Gonzalez Defreitas was born on December 21, 1915 in the town of São Martinho near Funchal on the island of Madeira, which is officially an autonomous region of Portugal. His father was a carpenter and so was Joseph. In 1937, at the age of 21, Joe decided to move to the United States and took a boat to Southampton and then to New York, where he became an American citizen. His father and his older brother had already moved there. Joe started working for his father and lived on 230 New Main Street in Yonkers, New York. Together with his older brother Arnold, Joseph was required to register for the United States' first peacetime draft in October 1940. 5 months later, they were both inducted in the US Army. Joseph and Arnold were two out of at least 300,000 immigrants that served in the United States Armed Forces during the Second World War. 109,000 of those were non-citizens. Joseph ended up serving in the 2nd Armored Division, nicknamed the Hell on Wheels. Elements of the division were part of the Western Task Force of Operation Torch and landed at Casablanca in French Morocco on November 8, 1942. However, Joseph was a member of B Company of the 41st Armored Infantry Regiment, which was not part of the landing force. He would land on December 24, 1942 and set foot on the African continent with the rest of the division, not far from his birthplace in Madeira. Joseph did not see action here, but remained in North Africa on garrison and training duties. Joe's first combat came with Operation Husky, when the 2nd Armored Division took part in the invasion of Sicily on July 10, 1943. It was a relatively light campaign for the 2nd Armored. The fighting in Sicily ended on August 17 and Joseph was sent to England with the rest of his unit. Here they began preparing for the Allied invasion of Normandy. The first elements of the 2nd Armored Division landed at Omaha Beach on June 9, 1944, 3 days after D-Day. It assisted the 101st Airborne in the attack on Carentan and spent the rest of June following an extensive training program, including tests in the use of anti-tank weapons against captured German armor. On July 26, 1944, the 2nd Armored Division took part in Operation Cobra. This operation was designed to break out of the Normandy country, while the German army was focusing on the British troops at the city of Caen. The mission for the 2nd Armored was to exploit the breakthrough made by infantry units south and west of St. Lo and to drive west towards the coast. The purpose of this mission was to prevent enemy counterattacks along this line. The small village of Pont Brocard is one of those villages that was liberated by the units of the 2nd Armored Division on July 27 and lies on the left flank of the breakthrough. The progress was so quick that the risk of counterattacks was so high, and so a cover was set up in the town, which was manned by B Company of the 41st Armored Infantry Regiment that included Joseph Defreitas.
Here we are, Pont Brocard, where this famous picture was taken in July 1944. A lot of people know about that picture. A lot of people saw the other picture of the 41st Armored, but I think not a lot of people have been here in Pont Brocard to see where those pictures have been taken, so it's pretty exciting to come here. So that was taken here. You can clearly see like the door here, the 2-3 windows and the small door in the back. You can recognize one of the building here in the back as well. It's right there. And our anti-tank gun facing, the road in case of a German counterattack. Pretty cool, bro.
Pretty cool.
And again, with all their camouflage and You can see a German helmet right there. I'm sure after the war, like some of the people here, like probably found a lot of stuff. But you see, oh, this one is so cool. I didn't check. Look, this one is wearing like a, I think a tanker jacket here. I'm not sure, but it looks like a tanker jacket, and you can see the patch right there, armored.
But he has the camouflage trousers.
Yep.
Pants.
Yeah, I know, it's really cool. It's an amazing shot.
So what do we see in the picture?
So what do we see in the picture? What do we see? We see an anti-tank gun, 57 millimeter, with 1, 2, 3 men behind. I think they're posing for the picture, because you can see that one is actually loading a shell or carrying a shell, but the guys behind doesn't seem to be very afraid. There's not a lot of action. In the back you can see like a man standing on a Sherman tank. You can see a German half track as well in the back, and right there on the left we see a Sherman tank that is, I'm not sure is moving honestly, probably static position, and the anti-tank gun is right here facing that road going northwest.
The original house where the AT gun is standing next to does not exist anymore today. It burned down after the war. But the photograph is really intriguing, and it looks like Joseph Defreitas is also standing behind the AT gun. In the portrait shot, we can see that Joseph is wearing a tea shovel and binoculars, which he seemed to carry as well in this photograph. His beard is also quite remarkable. We did not make a then and now shot because the lady of the house on our right was constantly harassing us for walking around with a camera in front of our house, but you can imagine that the AT gun was standing across the street. One factor that makes these photographs of the roadblock and the portrait shot of Joseph more powerful is the fact that a German counterattack did indeed take place on the roadblock on the night of July 27 and 28, 1944. The infantrymen set up a 57mm M1 anti-tank gun on the main crossroad of Pont Brocard, north of the river, with the tube facing south, and another M1 anti-tank gun on the south side of the river. In the early hours of July 28, shortly after 3 AM, Sergeant James J. Cermak of Company B was patrolling the road towards Cerisy-la-Salle when he discovered a German scout just a few meters from him. After a quick exchange of shots, Cermak spotted several vehicles on the road and decided to return to Pont Brocard to warn his comrades. He first opened fire with his Thompson submachine gun, and realizing that armored vehicles were approaching, he aimed the M1 gun in the dangerous direction and fired nearly 15 rounds unassisted at the vehicles and infantry that came in, engaging one after the other in Pont Brocard. At 4:30 AM, after having received reinforcements of infantry from Company B, Cermak faced a new attempt by the Germans. He fired 10 more rounds with the 57mm gun, putting an end to enemy movements. For these actions, Sergeant Cermak was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, the US Army's second highest military decoration for soldiers who display extraordinary heroism in combat with an armed enemy force.
I have to admit that it's kind of interesting to come here because there are a lot of people staring at us. I've never seen that.
Are you uncomfortable?
I'm uncomfortable today. Because yeah, there are like 5 or 6 people that came around, like stopped and looked at us.
It's interesting to see where the picture was taken because, you know, we were right here where the anti-tank gun was placed.
Yeah.
And so this picture is right here.
And you can see that the wall.
Oh, yeah.
You see there were a massive plot here. And the walls, there were an entrance right here.
Right.
And there's a new building there on the left.
It's pretty cool because the rest is unchanged.
Yeah, it's the same. If you come here, Joy, you'll see this house here. And this one here. That was destroyed actually. Which can be cool is that to go further for the people who've seen that pictures but don't know how it looks like in the back.
Oh, let's go.
Another angle.
That's pretty cool. Like I said, then we can see the crossroad as well. That's where the camera guy was standing. Ah, So what's interesting is that the people who are standing behind this wall have a perfect view over the road, but they have cover from the wall.
That's why you think that they're just looking at a court.
Yeah.
But actually, no, they're looking at the road just here.
Exactly, and that's the way out of Pont Brocard.
It's right here.
Taken from the other side.
And he's looking at the road. Yeah, they're looking at the road.
That's interesting. Another factor that makes these photographs so interesting is the uniforms that these men are wearing. Just before the start of Operation Cobra, several units of the 2nd Armored Division were issued a 2-piece herringbone twill camouflage uniform. The units that got these were the 17th Armored Engineer Battalion, the 82nd Armored Reconnaissance Battalion, but mostly they were worn by members of the 41st Armored Infantry Regiment, the unit that Joseph Defreitas served in. That is why we see him wearing a camouflage uniform in the first place. Besides the 2nd Armored Division, several pictures circulate on the internet showing members of the 2nd and 30th Infantry Division wearing the camouflage uniforms. Why these uniforms were issued in the first place remains unclear. Several testing results in the Pacific were not that promising, as the camouflage did not have its desired effect when an individual was moving. In 1943, the uniforms became a limited standard and they stopped producing them. One explanation put forward as to why they were used in Normandy is that they were trying to test them again, in the Norman Bocage this time. There has never been any evidence found to support this claim. One rumor on the internet and in several books is that they were withdrawn for similarity with the German camouflage uniforms, and that because of that there were cases of friendly fire. However, there's not a single piece of evidence that points to this. In fact, the only evidence related to HBTs and friendly fire are reports from troops wearing the dark OD HBTs being mistaken for Germans by troops wearing the normal wool M41 uniforms. The current theory as to why there is no evidence in the official records is that they were simply issued to fulfill requirements for HBT uniforms, along with the normal OD uniforms, as stocks of those were in short supply at the time and the camouflage uniforms were available and therefore shipped with the rest. The 2nd Armored simply happened to receive that batch. They were used up, worn out, and then swapped again afterwards for the normal OD wools with M41 and tank jackets. If Normandy is on your bucket list, make sure to check out Footsteps battlefield tours. Their battlefield tours will take you from Normandy to Germany for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Also, most of the people who made a guest appearance in our videos will serve as your tour guide. Make sure to visit footstepsbattlefieldtours.com for more information. Having explored the tiny hamlet of Pont Brocard, it is finally time to make the last then and now photograph, the one of Joseph Defreitas.
No, not this one. Because if you look. Oh, kitten, stop, stay here. If you look, you have no clue because look this one. The line is right here.
And it also makes much more sense with the rain pipe on the edge of the building.
Yeah, that's true. Good point, good point. You're a smart boy. So there's the pipe here. Not the original, of course. And the line here.
It's so crazy. Funny fact about the picture is that you can see Defreitas eating his dinner here. He told that to his family. He was eating his dinner after the battle. This picture was taken on July 28th, after the battle was over. And it's crazy because it was taken right here. He's standing at this window, right where my little friend is sitting. I'm holding the photo now where he's like standing and eating his food. It's weird. It's weird, but it's special. It's an honor for us to stand here in this place. Joseph continued to fight with the 2nd Armored Division up to Germany until he got sick on Thanksgiving on November 23, 1944, and was sent to a hospital. A doctor found out about Joseph's length of service, which had started almost since day one of the US Army's involvement in the war against Germany. According to the family, the doctor said he should have been discharged a long time ago. Joe returned to the USA in September of 1945 and continued to work as a carpenter for the US Postal Service for the rest of his life. In 1947, he married Beatrice Mello, and together they had 2 sons. Joe lived the rest of his life in USA, but vacationed in Funchal, Madeira every year for 3 to 6 months with his wife. Joseph passed away on January 16, 2005 at 89 years old. His wife Beatrice passed away on November 29, 2007 at 90 years old. The fact that Joseph had been living in the USA for only 4 years when he was drafted, and went on to fight for a country he was not born in, is something extraordinary. With this video, we hope that the memory of Joseph's story lives on. It is the least that we can do. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep Joseph's story alive, please click the like button and leave a comment. Also follow us on social media and share the posts about the release of this video. It will not only help us, but also bring more attention to Joseph's story. Thank you for watching. May we never forget.